Yo ho ho, AFC East Roundtable. Welcome once again to the top five series. You've heard our cornerbacks, you've heard our receivers, you have heard our quarterbacks, but now today we are going behind the offensive line. We are going running backs, and all three of these gentlemen on this screen with me have submitted their top five, top four, and we're going to go through each and every single one of them and decide who has the best running back in the AFC East. I feel like we might as well start off with Richie. Richie.
Oh, we're starting off with me?
We're starting off
All
with
right.
you. We're starting off
I
with
guess
you.
we're starting off with me, baby.
We are
Let's get
going
right into it. But before we get deeper into it, guys, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button, man. We got a lot of fun content coming your way. The pre-recorded videos has been a really fun treat. Shout out to Colby from Patriots Global for filling in for Master at Work for these series. We appreciate you having on. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Colby's channel over there in Patriots Global. That'll be linked down below in the description. And, of course, you guys know our channels by now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But let's get into my list. We'll start it off with me. So, you know who's number one, baby. You know who's number one, baby?
Brees
His name's Brees the Beast.
Oh
now,
gosh.
Brees Hall is number one, but I know that he got injured last year. So, Sir Ramondre, he's a dog. He's a beast, and I have a lot of respect for him. But I have Brees Hall at number one because simply when he was on the field, he was the best running back in the division. I mean, this man was drafted so high in the draft last year for a reason. If he did not get injured, I think that he would have actually won Rookie of the Year over Garrett Wilson, ironically enough. He was that freaking good, averaging well over 5 yards per carry, explosive plays. He was just getting his feet underneath him. Miami Dolphins fans, they know him very well because he had 197 total yards on their ass at MetLife Stadium. 197 yards, basically a 200 burger on their face. So Brees Hall, I know that the injuries are really, something to keep in mind. Is coming off a torn ACL, but if Brees Hall is healthy, I personally think that he is the guy that will be the best running back in this division. But when it comes to last year, I think Stevenson was the best running back in the division from the perspective of playing a full season and being, the guy outside of Brees Hall. Because what Ramondre Stevenson brings to the table is just a guy that he was so annoying to go up against, honestly, against the Jets. He has balance, he has vision, he has footwork, he has a good pass-catching ability. And I think that the New England Patriots got an absolute stud in Stevenson. They're not going to be missing Damian Harris too much, that's for sure. Raheem Mostert, he's a very explosive back. I got him at number 3 from the Miami Dolphins. I think that he is someone that had around 800-plus rushing yards last year. Didn't find the end zone too much, but I do think that he's number 3 with that scheme that Mike McDaniels likes to run down in Miami. I think that Mostert is match for that scheme over there, that West Coast style. Damian Harris going to Buffalo. I got him at number 4. I think that he is a guy that's going to be not the bell cow for them, but he's going to be that short yardage, goal line back. He's a bruiser. He can shed tackles and all those things. So I think Damian Harris is going to do some good things with Buffalo. And at number 5, I had a lot of options here. I was debating between James Cook. I was debating between, another guy in the Dolphins. But I stuck with my guns. Michael Carter, who had a down year last year, had a very, very good rookie season for the New York Jets, but he definitely had a sophomore slump. But I feel like in year 3, with the new system with Nathaniel Hackett, I think Michael Carter is actually going to have a bounce-back season this year. I think that he has way too many intangibles that gets me excited. He's slippery, can make people miss in the open field. He's not explosive. Like, Brees Hall is an explosive back that could take it to the distance whenever the ball's in his hands. 60-yard touchdown, 80-yard touchdown. That's what Brees Hall brings. That's not what Michael Carter brings to the table. Michael Carter is more of that guy that get you that first down, move the sticks, break a tackle, be a little slippery in the back end. So I know that he had a down year last year, and I'm sure Jets fans are probably scratching their heads saying, hey, Richie, Michael Carter stunk last year, and he did from his standards. I'm looking at that rookie season, and I'm expecting him to have a really good season in year number 3 with Nathaniel Hackett. The Jets running back room is actually pretty loaded with youthful talent. We still got Bam Knight, and we got a new rookie coming in Izzy Benikenda, so we'll see how that works out. But these are my 5 running backs in the AFC. Brees Hall, number 1. I know that, it's a little sketchy just because of the injury, but if he's healthy, he's definitely my number 1. So what do you guys think about this list? Let me hear it.
Trash.
You made my list, Richie.
I made
you officially made my crap list.
He's officially made the crap list.
You officially made the crap list. I'm not gonna get into it too much because I'll wait till my turn to break it all down. Because if I do it now, then there's no point in bringing me up here But Ramondre Stevenson second, man. I mean the disrespect, but you know what? I'll get into it when the time comes. All right.
I'll say this, Richie. When we've been doing these series of top players, you've been nothing but a homer, bro. You've been nothing but a homer. I mean, the delusion. I mean, bro, you're Breece Hall number one.
Yeah, Breece Hall number one. He's the best running back in the division.
You know what? Let me know when it's my turn so I can point out the hypocrisy once again. While we're doing this series, it continues to be hypocrisy, and I'm gonna give it to you, Richie.
Okay, but look at this. What does FanDuel have to say about it?
And
is this a homer? Is this a homer?
FanDuel is trying to make some money, man. You know.
No, but this is just proving that this is not me being a homer. That this is something that the national media thinks as well. It's not just a Jets fan. So don't make me get started with that.
Oh my gosh,
bro, they got Breece Hall as the number one back on FanDuel. So don't make it seem like I'm being a homer and I'm being biased. When FanDuel even has Breece as number one, it's not just a Jets fan delusion. So don't spin that narrative. I won't allow it.
Now,
I'm not saying it's a big gap, by the way, between Breece and Stevenson. I'm just saying FanDuel even has Breece number one.
I'm about to eat to you, bro.
One thing I will say is that I think that these lists are created based off of projections going into 2023. I think that there's no question that if Breece Hall were to stay healthy, he probably would have absolutely crushed everybody else that's even possible of being on these lists. So I'm not necessarily upset about that one. I mean, honestly, Richie, I think that list made sense. And we'll see later.
Yeah, and I know it's a big what if, but I agree, Dan. If Breece Hall was healthy last year, he would have been the best running back in the division and would have had better stats than anybody. And I'll stand on that.
Oh, my God.
I'll stand on that easily.
The hypocrisy, man.
Hypocrisy? I'm talking about injuries. Why was that hypocrisy? Let me know.
Let me know when it's my turn, Dan.
Well,
let me know so I can give it to Richie.
So I think that's a great transition. Let's move on to TD Finstock here.
Before I even go over my list, I have to call out for the fourth time doing these series the hypocrisy, okay?
Okay, let's hear it.
Y'all hold Tua's injury against him, but now we're going to ignore that for Breece Hall. The hypocrisy. Why does it? See, y'all are so biased. Y'all got to stop. If Tua would have been healthy the whole season, he would have had the best stats for a quarterback in the NFL, and there's no debating that. And he still ended up with the best passer rating, but y'all didn't want to use that. But when it fits your narrative, like what Richie's doing right now, he wants to use that for Breece Hall. So let's get down to business. I will give you this, Richie. Breece Hall is supposed to be number one, but he's not. And you know why? Because he's injured, and we don't know what he would have done had he not been injured. Therefore, nobody was a better running back than Ramondre Stevenson. Okay? And kudos to the Patriots' run game in general to have Ramondre and Damian arguably in the top. And Ramondre averaged 5 yards per carry. The only thing that I didn't like is the limited amount of touchdowns. I like to see him have about 7+. He ended up with 5. But Ramondre Stevenson played the entire season, over 1,000 yards, the only running back in our entire division over 1,000 yards, averaged 5 yards per carry. And also probably led everybody in reception yards as well. Not much, but still led everybody. So Ramondre Stevenson is the best running back in the division right now for the given fact that he's on the field and he's giving you a real total sample size. Now, I will admit, going to number 2, Breece Hall is supposed to be number 1 if he was healthy, but he wasn't, just like Tua wasn't, because y'all held that against him. So therefore, Breece Hall putting up, and I got to be honest with you, there was a part of me that even wanted to put Mostert in front of Breece Hall, but I said I ain't gonna go that far. I ain't gonna homer it like the rest of y'all do it, because at least Mostert played the full season, averaged 4.9 yards per carry. And another thing you don't know about Raheem Mostert is the fact that Mike McDaniel himself came out 3 weeks ago and apologized I'm so sorry to our running back room because I personally wanted to throw the ball more. He was trying to showcase Tua and get Tyreek Hill 2,000 yards. And he literally came out and apologized to the running back room for not running the ball enough. Everybody on our team in the running back room averaged over 4.5 yards a carry. Everybody. We just didn't run enough. 60-40 split. If that was 50-50, Mostert would have been right up there with Ramondre. But he's a victim of the team. Okay? So Ramondre is number one. Breece Hall, I gave him the edge. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt to make him number two because of his, and I shouldn't have did that because if we really went off of health like you did everybody else, he would have been fourth on my list technically. But I didn't do that. I know the type of talent that Breece Hall is, and he's supposed to be number one. But until he can play a full season, he's not. Number three, Mostert, I already explained to you. Number four, Damian Harris. Let me tell you another thing about this. Damian Harris, this one impresses me because this guy is the certified backup behind Ramondre Stevens, even though you know Belichick by committee, one game is this guy, one game is that guy. But they knew who the main guy was, Ramondre getting double the carries. But if Harris would have got Ramondre's carries, he was right there almost at 1,000 too. So at the end of the day, the New England Patriots doing something right over there. But I ain't going to knock everybody because they did have the best O-line in the division last year. A lot of people may not know that, but the Patriots were ranked 10th in the NFL. The number 2 was Miami at 22 in our division. Number 3, Buffalo at 23. And number 4, the Jets at 31. So that's another reason why the Patriots ran the ball well. But, hey, that's the game plan, and they did it. And last but not least, number 5, I put James Cook. This was more interesting than them all because he averages more yards per carry than everybody except Breece Hall. But he played a full season, and we're talking about for the Buffalo Bills, who we know who their number one running back is.
Mm-hmm.
We know Josh Allen, the real running back, and that's why he's limited. And then their starting running back, and you got James Cook, pretty much a third wheel to me. So at the end of the day, if the Buffalo can get their mind right and feature James Cook more, he can move up this list and fight for 1, 2, or 3. But it'll never happen because they got Josh Allen, and he'll always be their downfall. That's my 5 list. So stop the hypocrisy.
All right, let me talk about
injuries. What about Tua?
Yeah, I'll talk about Tua. I mean, Tua was healthy at the end of the year. And what happened? He went up against good competition. What happened?
Hold on. So do you need me to pull up Breece's numbers? He have not one bad game in his 7 games? Not one?
He started off the season not starting, and then when he started to start, he took flight. My point is, Tua Tagovailoa got injured. He came back, and when he went up against good competition, he fumbled, and he got hurt again. I mean, it's not a knock on Tua, but the hypocrisy statement that you're bringing up with the injuries, this is also a projection of where I think that the season's coming up. And I think that Breece Hall is going to be the best running back in the division this year, and you think Tua's going to be the best quarterback in the division this year, and that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
We don't think we know.
Yeah. So, I don't understand the hypocrisy statement from that perspective. You know, I'm projecting Breece Hall. I'm projecting Breece to be the best running back in the division this upcoming season. You're projecting Tua to be the best quarterback in this division based on what you saw last year.
But you're projecting Breece because in the small sample size, he was leading the way, right?
Yeah.
And in Tua's sample size, he was leading the way.
And you have every right to believe that.
But why aren't you applying the same logic for Tua?
Because I saw Tua play.
Quarterback position are entirely different.
Yeah, that quarterback and running back position is different. But I saw Tua versus good competition at the back end of the season because remember, his best games are against the Chicago Bears. And again, I have the stats right here against the Houston Texans. And then he has 4 straight L's against the 49ers, the Chargers, the Bills, and the Packers. I mean, you will talk about QBR. I know Dolphins fans love QBR.
He played great versus the Packers.
18 QBR versus the 49ers, 28 QBR against the Chargers, 52 QBR against the Bills, 25 QBR against the Packers. So what I saw from Tua was against good competition for the first time in the season. He fumbled. That's what I saw.
So what I saw from Breece Hall was against Pittsburgh, 3.8 yards a carry. What I saw from
Game-winning
him
touchdown.
against Cincinnati, 39 yards. What I saw from him against Baltimore, 23 yards.
Yeah, those are
So it
him
happens.
not starting.
And he's living off of a Green Bay game where he put up 116, the Miami game of 97.
You're missing a big part of that Miami game.
The receiving yards because
200 yards.
One little broken tackle that took him down the road.
They couldn't drag him down until the goal line. Javon
all
Holland.
I'm saying is, can we keep the same energy for Tua? Was he the best quarterback in the division last year?
No.
Yes or no?
If he showed up, TD, I'll tell you this. He was the best quarterback in the division to start off the season. He absolutely was. Tua Tagovailoa was the best quarterback in the division to start off the year. And then when he went up against good competition, he fumbled that. And then
but the question is, was he the best quarterback in our division last year? You can't sit here against you alone, Richie. That bum Josh Allen did it against y'all by himself twice. Look at how many bum games he has.
This is a running back video. We can't get into the quarterback.
QB rank is part 2 coming in high.
I promise you, before we finish all these series, I'm going to get y'all to admit that Tua was the best quarterback in the division, and y'all know it. Y'all know it.
I stand on it. He was the best until he went up against good competition.
Yeah,
and then he kind of fumbled.
But who was better overall, Richie? Josh Allen got more bum games than Tua.
All right, let's get Dan's list.
Bottom 5 in the league. He's terrible. He's a disgrace.
Y'all gonna admit it.
Football, and I can't wait to watch Grayson McCall be your quarterback next year from Coastal Carolina University.
You
so bad. That's my take. He's terrible.
Hey, oh my God, you put Breece Hall in.
He wishes he was Josh Allen. Anyway, all right, my running back rankings that got heated. We just ended up getting through our weekly Tua or daily Tua segment, rather. I feel like, but okay. So my running backs, honestly, no, not necessarily. Okay, so my list is slightly different. Breece Hall, number 1. I'm very excited to see what he can do this year, as long as he can stay healthy. Best ability is availability, but I did very much like what I saw that first year. I think behind that offensive line, he's going to flourish as long as he can put in a full 17 games. Ramondre Stevenson, very close between Breece Hall and Stevenson right there. I mean, normally Belichick for the past couple of years, maybe not so much as of late, but literally with each and every single game that you tuned into where Belichick was calling the shots, like you had like a running back committee of like, it seemed like 35 guys, right? Like drafting a Patriots running back for fantasy football was one of the dumbest decisions you could possibly make as a young adult. But I think this might be the first year, this very well might be the first year where Ramondre Stevenson is going to be the bell cow. I mean, last year you see this guy with like 206 attempts, absolutely crazy. I could definitely see him is making that happen again this year. Super, super excited to see what he does behind that offensive line. Damian Harris, I think that as long as the man can stay healthy, I mean, honestly, last year with only 106 attempts, still did pretty solid, 4.4 yards per carry, and that's something the Buffalo Bills have been longing for a very long time. Please take away rush attempts from Josh Allen and Damian Harris as long as he can stay healthy. I think that he'll be able to and so make a lot of missed tackles and really put our run game on the map. That's if, of course, Ken Dorsey decides to actually consistently run the football and not give up on it after the first quarter. And then Raheem Mostert, I would definitely like to see him be involved a little bit more. I think that they are wasting his potential. I think that they're wasting his youth. We're just going to have to see whether or not that McDaniels will allow this to happen. And then Michael Carter as a backup. Some Bills fans might say, Dan, why is James Cook not on this list? Guy really didn't have a lot of opportunities last year. He really only had 82 carries. Yes, 5.7 yards per carry is great. But I really want to see him be utilized in the pass game because that's exactly why we drafted him from Georgia just 2 years ago. And that did not happen. I don't think that he will ever be that true running back like out there that's going to be able to run those inside zones, run in between the tackles. He's a pass catching back first, right? So that's why he is not on the list, but I'm very much hoping that I am wrong. And so right in the middle of the season, and hopefully he will climb the list as the weeks progress.
Well, I'm glad to welcome Dan Mitchell to Patriots Global's shit list.
Yeah, because you guys have the exact same list. I'm pretty sure it's like divided between the top 2 people on the screen right now and the bottom 2 people on the screen. Like, I'm pretty sure those lists are the same and then the same. It might be a little different, but I feel like they're
he
the
has
same.
Mostert third. He has I had Mostert third and Harris fourth. That's the only difference between ours.
Both of y'all put Michael Carter on your list.
Yeah, baby.
You see, I could understand where you could switch Michael Carter and Cook, and I could understand. I feel like it's more opinion based, especially when you get to what would you guys have him ranked? 4, 5? 5. Again, once you're getting to 5, I feel like it's really based off of opinions and your own personal projection. So I can understand, and I'll get into it when it's mine. But obviously, spoiler alert, not who I had, but I think once you get to 5, you can swap each other out. So I could see where you put him there. I didn't.
Michael Carter's like, but Michael Carter would be like 6th or 7th. Remember, I thought y'all were talking. See, hypocrisy again. I thought you were talking about projections of what they'll be this year. Because if Brees is healthy, Michael Carter doesn't even exist.
Well, Hackett likes to run multiple running backs.
Yeah, bro. He only had 114 for 402. If Brees is there, he ain't getting no Cook. He ain't getting that amount.
Pass catching back. He's gonna be the pass catching back. He's gonna be involved for sure.
Bro, the man ain't gonna get more than 60 carries.
And again, like Colby said, it's the 5th running back. I was debating between James Cook and Michael Carter, and I couldn't think of another one. I wasn't gonna put a rookie from the Dolphins or a rookie from the Jets. So I went with Carter, but you can definitely, argue with James Cook for sure. I'm not going to stand pat on Michael Carter 5 like I'll stand pat on Brees Hall number 1.
Colby, what you got, man? Oh,
all righty.
Number 1.
That edit's looking sexy. All right.
The debut of Colby's face, by the way.
The
debut of Colby's animated cartoon
That's
face.
the same as me.
Honestly, we should have hyped this up a little bit, a little edit, kind of like groundbreaking, kind of hype it up a little more. It's fine. It's all right.
It's pretty dope, though. It's pretty dope.
I mean, look, first off, Ramondre look, the Patriots don't only have the best running back in the AFC East. They have the best running back committee in the AFC East. And I would have absolutely loved to have included another Patriot on this list. But unfortunately, Damian's gone. So it's kind of mixed with a lot of young guys between Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong, which we haven't seen. Pierre Strong very well could make this list by the end of the season next year. We also have James Robinson, which if he comes back healthy, he had an Achilles injury 2 years ago. It takes about 2 years to come back from that. James Robinson very well could make this list as long as he can actually come back from that Achilles injury. But I wanted to keep this real. I wanted to keep this realistic, and I wanted to keep it fair, so I did not include any of them. But how you don't have Ramondre Stevenson at 1 doesn't make sense. And I heard nobody talk about the ACL tear or the meniscus tear that Brees Hall did unfortunately go up against. And he only played in 7 games. He looked great, and I'm not going to say he didn't. He was a true case for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And yeah, I'm kind of glad the Patriots didn't have to go up against him because he was looking good. But at the end of the day, you're pretty much coming in here telling me, hey, well, he projected 7 games, so he was going to play in 17 games the exact same way. You're now also telling me that with that ACL tear, with that meniscus tear, that he's going to come back the exact same way. And although it's not an Achilles injury, which pretty much wipes out players at this point, it's easier to come back from ACL injuries at this point. Coming back from ACL and meniscus injuries are still not nothing. You can't just push them to the side. It's not like, you tore your hamstring or anything like that. It's still a very serious injury for a young player at the running back position, which those guys do get used a lot, and they kind of get cycled through pretty quickly. So I think there's some question marks on how Brees Hall's still going to come back from that. Not to mention that I do still think that, even in terms of Aaron Rodgers coming out, they're going to be more of a pass first team than maybe they ran as much as they did last year. I still think they're going to run a lot. I still think Hall's going to be that featured number 1 back, but I don't think they're necessarily going to run as much. I look at Ramondre Stevenson. Even if we look at just last year, the production best best in the entire AFC East. Over 1,400 total purpose yards, 210 total rush attempts, 1,040 yards. You could say, oh, well, Patriots Global, he only had 5 rushing touchdowns. That's great. The Patriots red zone offense was one of the worst in the NFL. I think it might have actually been the worst in the NFL. Don't blame that on Ramondre. Blame that on Matt Patricia as the offensive coordinator, not being able to punch the damn ball into the end zone and then going the exact same run play, attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt. No duh, he couldn't get into the end zone. Every single defense knew what they were doing. My grandma could call out exactly what the Patriots offense was doing. Like, no duh. So I don't think that touchdown should be a stat that goes against him, even in terms of receiving yards, put up 421 yards. He's averaged 5 yards per carry, and that's a little bit lower than Breece Hall. But at the same time, too, Ramondre Stevenson played a full season. Ramondre Stevenson was given 210 rush attempts. He was able to do that from week 1 to week 18. Would Breece Hall have been able to do that? We don't know. But you're also projecting Breece Hall's numbers to have been that high. So I could easily come in here and say, well, Breece Hall's numbers wouldn't be that high. And I could argue the exact same thing. You're going off of projection. I'm going off of true hardcore stats from Ramondre this past year, mixed with the fact that he's still going to be that number 1 featured back in a Patriots offense that has a lot of question marks going into it, and they're going to rely on that run game the entire season. They'll be a run-first team, but especially the start of the season, they're going to rely on it. With Damian Harris not there too, Ramondre Stevenson is still going to continue to be that featured back. Whether it's in terms of the rushing attack, whether it's in terms of pass blocking, whether it's in terms of the receiving game. I don't know how many times this man caught one-handed passes and bailed out Mac Jones, respectfully, but he is the best all-around running back also. I think it's absolutely absurd that, Ramondre Stevenson was not the number 1 running back for everybody else, but whatever. Breece Hall, 2. Obviously, he put up a crazy rookie season. I still think he's going to be good. A lot of questions on who is Breece Hall, though. Respectfully, he only played 7 games. Again, he's coming off of an ACL and meniscus tear. We had question marks on what he was last year, only playing in 7 games. Now he's coming back, but he's dealing with a pretty big injury. So I think there's massive questions on what he's going to be. We know what Ramondre is. We know what he's going to be. And I had to put him at number 1. Breece Hall comes at number 2. Raheem Mostert, to me, he's a guy that's underrated. And I think he was very underutilized with the Miami Dolphins. TD obviously touched upon that. He's a guy that, usually is averaging 5 yards per carry. He put up just over 800 yards this past year. Also, I think if he's utilized more, those numbers would have been inflated a lot more. But you look at his career, he's usually averaging at least 5 yards per carry, but ran a little short this past year of 4.9. Damian Harris, man. Damian Harris broke my heart this offseason, and he's not on this list because of that, but he's on this list because as a Patriots fan, I know he can't stay healthy. If Damian could stay healthy and the Bills can have an actual offensive line blocking in front of him, he could easily go for 1,000 yards. But Damian Harris doesn't stay healthy. Damian Harris never stays healthy. I'm a Patriots fan. I saw this first and foremost. I had to report on this time after time. He could never stay healthy. He was always kind of that 1-2 punch with somebody else. It was Sony Michel and Damian Harris. It was Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. It was always hard to have Damian be that lead guy because he was never actually able to stay healthy. And I just don't see what the change is going to be heading to Buffalo, who, again, like TD even said earlier, Buffalo doesn't have as good of an offensive line as the Patriots. So you're telling me that he's going to stay healthier with a worse offensive line? I just don't see it. So I had to put him lower on my list just specifically because he's not going to play a full season, and I know he's not. Number 5, James Cook. I just put James Cook on here. You could go with Michael Carter. I could see where you're coming from, but I just think James Cook has more upside, wasn't given as much of an ability. And obviously Michael Carter, I just don't think he's going to play as much just because of Breece Hall. He's going to be that feature back. He's going to be the guy that they essentially want to go with. So I think that that's going to get taken down. I don't think he's as talented either. And I just think that there's a lot to still unpack here with James Cook from a receiving ability, from a rushing attack. I think he could be a very, very good multi-purpose running back, but you have to actually give him the chance. And with Damian Harris not able to stay healthy, he could finally actually get those opportunities.
I love that. Okay, TD. What you got?
First of all, I want to challenge the fact that he said the Patriots got the best running back crew in the AFC East. That's a lie. I'm about
That's
to
no
tell
lie, baby.
real quick. I'll tell you why, because I'm about to adjust all of y'all lists because we forgot somebody.
You're a rookie.
And I blame myself. Real talk. I blame myself because I only considered I only considered his 8 games with the Dolphins. But I forgot to include his stats with his former team. We made a trade midseason for Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson automatically belongs on this list. In all of y'all lists. I mean, the man had 860 yards as our backup. He was phenomenal. He was also 4.9 right there with Mostert. The only reason I forgot all about it is because he got injured in week 12 and he still played, but he was a backup most of the rest of the season. But he was easily on his way past 1,000 yards this season. He was balling in San Francisco. Miami got him. He was balling in Miami. His first game in Miami, 17 carries, 119 yards. And then he got hurt playing his former team, San Francisco, 1 carry for 3 yards. And basically he was Mostert's backup for the rest of the season. Only reason I forgot about him because I only considered the Miami Dolphins stats. But when you put his full season, San Francisco and Miami, he's easily number 3 or number 4 on this list. Easily. And for me, I would have to knock James Cook out completely, and Harris would be number 5 now on my list. I don't know how I forgot all about Jeff Wilson, but forgive me, Dolphin fans, that's ridiculous. He had 860 yards. Raheem Mostert had 881 or whatever it was. But both of these guys, we actually had the better unit, Patch Global, from a running back standpoint.
Respectfully, I'll take a Damian Harris.
But you don't have him anymore.
Last year, but in terms of last year, I'll take a healthy Damian Harris and a Ramondre Stevenson over both of those guys. Those guys have speed. That's about
speed
it. You have better speed.
Yeah.
You have a better speed duo, speed dynamic with your running backs for sure. And I'll give you that. Fastest offense in the National Football League, hands down. Nobody can argue that with the Dolphins. But I think in terms of well-rounded running back cores, it went to the Patriots. And look, what is it going to be this year? I don't know. Is James Robinson healthy? I don't know. I'm not going to say they're going to have it maybe this year, but it wouldn't surprise me because I do think they could get a healthy James Robinson. And I do think, I'm telling you right now, and I want y'all to clip this at the end of the season, watch out for Pierre Strong. They redshirted him, and the limited opportunities that they actually gave him last year looked very, very good. Fastest running back the Patriots have taken in years with 4.3 speed. I'm just saying, we didn't see him last year because he was redshirted, but don't get it mixed up. He's going to be a massive piece to the Patriots this upcoming season.
I do want to say this was a great show, and I am not going to press, Stevenson being number 1 on your guys' list. I completely understand where you guys are coming from, and I know it's hard to really talk about a player that only played 7 games, but my perception of Breece Hall was on the pace that he was going at after he finally became the starting back, which was week 4, and he had those 3 games of explosions. I was projecting that pace to continue, but obviously that's all what ifs. Stevenson's a beast. I think is going to be a hard back to contain, so I can't really press you too much on Stevenson being number 1, but I'm excited to see what happens, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of our Top 5 series. I do want to give a giant announcement. If you have been watching the AFC East Roundtable live show, you will know that we are hosting our very first event, Monday Night Football, September 11th. Okay, we're talking tailgate party. We're talking tickets to the game. We're talking opportunity to meet all of us, New York City. Great time. If you are interested, do us a favor and email afceastroundtable@gmail.com. and let us know how many tickets you would like. We are currently awaiting prices from the New York Jets. And once we get that idea, then we will all send you over an email so you can secure your damn spot to New York City. Let's rage and let's start celebrating a Buffalo Bills victory.
Won't happen. Jets dub. Let's go, Jets!